And we're recording. Let's start recording the audio. Audacity. Welcome, everyone. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 925. Tonight, catching up on listener email. And I got 4 emails. And that's really going to be the entire show. But before I get started, I want to cover my schedule for the Mike Tech Show over the next 2 months because I am crazy busy. I got a lot going on, and I got a lot going on Thursday nights, so I'm going to have to adjust the schedule a little bit. So here, barring no emergencies, I have a project in Fort Lauderdale, which I've hinted at a little bit. Well, it's on target, and my son, Michael Jr., gets down here Wednesday, November 13th. The 14th, we're driving down to Uncle Marvin B, from the Uncle Marv's business podcast, and he's going to help us with the project over the weekend. So Thursday, November 14th, I'm literally going to be driving, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do a show that night. So probably no show that week. Then the 21st, everything's fine, but the 28th is Thanksgiving. Now, my wife's going to be back down for Thanksgiving for a few days. So then the following week, I have December 5th, I'm picking up Ryan at the airport for a concert that he's coming down to join me with, which is 97X Next Big Thing in Clearwater, where it's a lot of alternative groups. So we got the All American Rejects, Something Corporate, Dayglow, Judah and the Lion, Gigi Perez, and Jonah Kagan. So that's all day December 7th. So because I don't want to miss 2 weeks in a row, look for a show on December 3rd, Tuesday night. So that's like in between. So I will do a show. Now, regular show on December 12th. I'm going to be back in Pennsylvania for the shows December 19th to 26th, January 2nd and January 9th. Then I'm back in Florida for January 16th. A lot happening. And then that's not barring any client emergencies, any sudden new hurricanes coming or something, So, and speaking of which, everything that was damaged from Hurricane Helene and Milton down here for my property is all repaired. I am so fortunate. I was going to say minor. All the screens were easy to fix, and the part of the roof that was easy to fix. You know what the hardest thing was? The front door. My front door was damaged, and the repairs for that took longer than anything, but it's all done, and I am very, very, very thankful. And I just wanted to give you an update as we are now going to start the show. I have some great links for tonight, too. So let's get to the email. And the first one, this is great email from Mike H. And he says, I have a question about shared Gmail accounts. I have a client that set up a shared account, businessname@gmail.com, for general business contact. There are 4 people using it via shared credentials. The account is IMAP, and it's becoming a problem when one employee deletes an email that another one hasn't read yet. They are also using Outlook as their email client, so I don't know if that adds another monkey in the wrench. Actually, it's going to help us. Is there a better solution for this situation? I've done some reading, but haven't come up with a good solution. Keep up the good work. Hope your Florida home has survived the storm, and it has. Thank you, Mike. And I absolutely have the solution. You're doing it correctly. It's exactly set up, but we're going to add something. I've had 2 separate clients years ago running into the same thing. So it's all about workflow and training. So what you have to do is, here's one example. Create an additional folder called in progress and maybe another folder called completed. And then as someone takes on that email, they drag and drop it to the in progress. So this is going to sync for everybody, and everybody's going to see that and know that that's being worked on. Now, since there's only 4 people, you might want to have in progress and then subfolders with their names. And then that person could actually drag it into the name, their name. And of course, since these are all IMAP folders, make sure they're all subscribed to all folders. They will sync. And then when it's finished, drag it into the finished folder. I beat myself up on this problem a few years ago, just like you're doing right now, Mike. And it just dawned on me, it's how we're managing the email. So keep it all set up the same. Just create a couple folders like I suggested, and maybe tweak it, but take the idea, that I'm planning, and run with that. And you got to follow up with me and let me know how that worked out. Okay. This is a follow-up, and this is by Hilton from Virginia. And he sent this a couple weeks ago, and I just wanted to follow up. And this was about Malware Bites threat down. Just listen to last week's show, and I think I know what that software is. It sounds like Malware Bites has a service similar to CrowdStrike. This service wouldn't really work for small shops. That's why I'm not involved in it. And he continues, it's more for large enterprises. I work for the city, and we have thousands of endpoints. CrowdStrike manages our antivirus remotely, and they provide 24/7 incident response. You basically use that kind of service as a software as a service, SaaS. For us, it is critical because we don't have a large IT security department. So it's kind of like outsourcing your security to a third party. It works for us because a huge enterprise is a large attack surface. I agree, and thank you for clearing that up a little bit. And it's why I'm not involved, because a lot of our clients are pretty small, and they just don't fall into that category where we need, my team, we manage their security. Now, is it as efficient as a CrowdStrike or ThreatDown? No, because we're not monitoring it 24/7. But we turn on enough alerts from the firewall, if there's anything going on, we will get notified. We also have our agents running for Synchro, where we'll get notified if something strange is happening or something's going on. So, Hilton, thank you very, very much for that. Okay, let's get to Sam's email, which gets a little more complicated. This is a long email, and there's going to be 2 great links. And this is about the Microsoft MFA. And the 2 links that he sent, one is a step-by-step YouTube video on conditional access with Microsoft 365. The other one is managing emergency access admin accounts. And this is 2 things that everybody who has to manage this really needs to pay attention. And you probably, if you're in a big organization or you've dealt with this, you might already know about it, but here we go. Last show, there was a question about Microsoft MFA and how it's being used in corporate. Well, it's simple. For the end user, we require everyone to register their MFA on their personal or company-provided smartphone, with an exception for frontline employees. Those often use a general account like Workshop app. The MFA can be stored with the owner of the company or to be used on a shared phone or MFA app. For the admin, there is a rule of thumb of 2 ways of doing it, and that rule depends on the tenant license. One way for Entra ID free, which is Exchange Online Business Basic Business Standard, and the other way is a P1 or P2. That's Business Premium E3 or E5. If you're familiar with the licensing, you'll understand that. By default, you are on Entra ID free, but if you have one higher license, you will be upgraded to P1 or P2. I have clients that's exactly what we do. Everybody has Microsoft 365 standard, except one account has the higher E3. That means everybody can take advantage of sending encrypted email. Here, and this is something I've learned, you automatically have the P1 or P2. That makes sense. So what do we do for the Entra ID free? It is recommended to not force MFA on every user by hand. Per user MFA, as it's called, in the admin center, since it will be depreciated in September 30th, 2025, extended from 2024. These settings will be replaced by authentication methods in Entra ID, which is already in general availability. It can only be used if the old per user MFA is set to disabled on the user. Here, the use of Microsoft Authenticator and third-party authenticators or any other method and be turned on or off. Therefore, from now on, it is recommended to turn on Microsoft security defaults. This can be found on the entra.microsoft.com under Overview Properties Security Defaults. And by the way, they've changed that location a couple times, I know. He continues, what will happen is that every user will be required to register an authenticator within 14 days of the first logon or policy change. Now, for the Entra ID P1 and P2 tenants, it is highly recommended to make use of conditional access. I am going to interject in there. When you watch the YouTube video, he clearly explains how you can exclude an admin account or another account in this conditional access. So you would create a policy to have everybody have MFA turned on, but then you get the chance to exclude certain accounts. Very important because you don't want to get locked out of your tenant. Okay, he continues. Conditional access is a way of granting access to cloud resources based on custom preset conditions. If you are new to this concept, it is recommended watching this video from Jonathan Edwards, a Microsoft MVP. And it's a great video. I played it in the early pre-show tonight as I was watching it. With conditional access, you can, for example, define that when a user wants to use a cloud app, they must meet the condition to do MFA. Or you can say, for example, that logging in from outside the country is prohibited and access to that resource will be blocked. Or the legacy authenticator or access via Linux may be blocked. You can also require that an antivirus be installed on any device that's trying to access it, or it'll be blocked. So there's a lot of interesting conditional access that you can customize in the policy. There are many, many ways of defining if something is allowed or not. Policies can be targeted to all users or a security group. We recommend making a default set of rules based on the most common configurations and reapplying them on all the tenants that can use it. Policies can be exported and imported with ease. We and Microsoft recommend to exclude a break the glass user from every policy to prevent yourself from being locked out of your own tenant. Now, there's a link to manage. This is by Microsoft. Manage emergency access admin accounts, Microsoft Entra ID. By using these methods, you ensure that MFA can and will be used without the need to take a look at it, so it cannot be forgotten by user error. This will be the future of Microsoft authentication for everybody, small or corporate. Sam, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the links. They will be in the show notes for tonight's show. All right. So now let's get to Kim's email. Okay. And this is going to line up 2 more links. Hi, Mike. Thank you for your podcast. Been a listener since podcast number 9. I have a tip for those clients that click on pop-ups. Listen to Security Now episode uBlock Origin and Manifest version 3. And Kim, thank you. And there's 2 links that I am adding also to the show notes. And one is the link to the Twit broadcast Security Now. And I've referenced Security Now a couple times in the past. Great to listen. I haven't made the time and I haven't listened in a while. And it's amazing. This is show 995. There was a time where I had, and this is Steve Gibson and Leo Laporte. There was a time that I had a higher show number, but they have keep banging them out all the time, and which is great. So they've been around. Steve Gibson's been around as long as I have in podcasting, and he is the security guru. So this episode, which I'm going to link to that you can listen, talks about uBlock Origin, and then there's a lot of detail on extensions within Chrome and Firefox, and it gets very technical. And to accompany this, I am also linking the Security Now show notes for show 995. And this is 20 pages of every word, every link, every comment for the show. So I recommend scrolling down if you don't have time to listen, or you should probably listen and then go down to where he starts talking about the uBlock Origin and Manifest version 3, which starts on page 10. And you can read along, and it'll take a couple takes. So here's what I've done. In the meantime, I'm adding uBlock Origin to my browsers, because if that's going to stop and prevent pop-ups, bad pop-ups from happening, which is what we've seen that increase in, and it's slowed down a little bit now, but we've seen it was horrible, where we were getting multiple calls a day from different clients where they clicked on something, the pop-up came up, and the computer starts talking to them, telling them there's computers infested, and to call the number. Luckily, all of our clients no longer calls the number. At least I'm hoping. I still have 1 or 2 that they can't help themselves. And just as long as they don't let them remote in or give up a credit card number, and all we can do is cross our fingers and hope, that they are listening to us. So it gets complicated when they start talking about Manifest version 2 and which is being upgraded to Manifest version 3, which is going to make life difficult for extensions in browsers. So it's a good read, and it's also a good listen to get an understanding of where we are in the state of extensions and blocking pop-ups. So Kim, thank you so much for sharing that. And you know what? Short show tonight. That's it. That was all I really wanted to cover, except let me add another link. And this was given to me by Taz, Mike Cooley, our moderator, in the chat for the show. He sent me a link, DoNotPay. It's your AI consumer champion. DoNotPay uses artificial intelligence to help you fight big corporations, protect your privacy, find hidden money, and beat bureaucracy. So, fighting corporations, find hidden money, cancel subscriptions, that's big, and automatically cancel your free trials. So, check this out, and you can sign up. And again, it's DoNotPay.com. Mike, thank you very much for that. And that will be the final link in the show notes. I want to thank everybody for downloading and staying subscribed to the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all your support. Remember, you can email me, ask me anything, send links, stories, however you want, to MikeTechShow@gmail.com. Don't forget, MikeTechShow.com is the main website that has all of the show notes and everything that I talk about, including a donation button. That's how we can stay alive and on the air. Please, if you can, you got something out of this show or one of the other shows and you want to help out, make a donation through the PayPal link that's literally it's listed in the top of every show notes. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that's Michael Smith MTS. And of course, the links are always in the show notes at the main website. That's it. See everybody next week, same time, same channel. Bye-bye.